Good evening, Dr. Poonam Saxena, madam, Biju sir, and all
Good evening, sir.
respected educators. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. Good
Yeah,
evening, sir.
I think we can start, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, respected educators, hearty welcome to Extramile Education and Training to this particular episode of NCERT syllabus. The syllabus they have released in all subjects for grade 9 this year. That means 2026-27. So, as you know that CBSE is rationalizing most of the classes, syllabus of most of the classes. It is proposing this year's 9th standard rationalized syllabus. So we are here to see what are the changes taking place and which all areas are being focused and what all things to be taken care of in terms of the transaction of the latest syllabus proposed by and released by NCERT. And Dr. Poonam Saxena, madam, is here to help us decoding the curriculum, the syllabus. So at the outset, let us put our hands together to thank and welcome Dr. Poonam Saxena, who has been working with us for long, ever since the inception of or the happening of Corona. So for more than 4 years, she has been assisting educators through online and offline platform. So let's welcome her, and also we welcome on behalf of the Extramile Education Training. We all welcome all the educators to this exclusive session, NCERT syllabus science curriculum decoding. So I request Biju sir to introduce Poonam ma'am. Biju sir, please, over to you.
Sure.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to introduce today's resource person, Dr. Poonam Saxena. With an illustrious career spanning over 30 years in the field of education, Dr. Poonam Saxena is a distinguished educator, dynamic leader, and passionate reformer. She currently serves as a training coordinator, hub leader, CBSE resource person, and master trainer for the Health and Wellness Program. As the founder principal of Scholars Global School since its inception in 2012, she has been the driving force behind the school's remarkable transformation from a modest start of 70 students to a thriving institution of approximately 2,000 learners. In addition to her leadership roles, Dr. Poonam has made a profound impact on teacher development across the country. She has trained over 100,000 teachers, both online and offline, empowering educators with the skills and mindset necessary for 21st century learning. Hearty welcome, Dr. Poonam Saxena. Please proceed. The stage is yours.
Yes, Poonam ma'am, over to you.
Yes, sir. I am good. Thank you for the another opportunity. And whenever I go online for trainings, it is thanks to Extramile and that I started my journey as an online educator and trainer. I will say teacher trainer. And I'm really glad that I got this opportunity. So I would like to offer my gratitude to you, to Biju sir and Extramile for giving me this opportunity. And it has also helped me to enhance and go deeper into the topics. And I also enjoy listening to the other resource persons and enhance my, I will say, not only my skills, but also my knowledge, because there are lots and lots of changes happening over the period in education, and through your channel, I think we all educators are benefited. So thank you once again for the opportunity.
Thank you. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So I think the topic today we all are aware is about the changes in the syllabus. So like today morning only, there were some guests in the school and they were asking me, ma'am, why the syllabus has to be changed. So I gave them this example that see, we have now NEP 2020 in progress. So it also has to be implemented. So it can only be implemented if we bring about changes in the curriculum, in the whatever the goals and aims of the NEP are, it has to be implemented in the syllabus and the curriculum, and how the syllabus is transacted, because NEP 2020 talks about not only about the content but also to build competencies in the children, so that they are able to face the challenges in the life. So I think this session will help you, and it has also helped me understand better these changes, why they are being brought about. And I think we all are aware into when the COVID came and the syllabus was rationalized, and since then it was going like this. So now this is the time when CBSE is trying to bring it back to the more relevant things, and definitely the things which will also align with the Indian knowledge and pride for the Indian scientists and the indigenous sciences which we already have. So it is also about connecting the science with the other subjects also. So all the I'll say vision of NEP will be accomplished of teaching science through the changed syllabus. And I think I'm ready to share my presentation. With your permission, I would like to go ahead.
Please, ma'am.
So, yes. So the first thing is in this session, we will be talking about first what is the nature of science, which we are going to teach, which we are going to, I'll say, transact in the classrooms. The first is that. And then the nature of knowledge. We all are aware that we have to move from rote learning to concept building, to concept understanding, and to the application of the knowledge that is there. Then the aims of the subject, that is the science subject, should be fulfilled. It should be for helping the establishing global citizenship, helping in sustainable development, helping in solving the global crisis about the climate and the other factors which are leading to the, I'll say, deforming of the earth. It's a very big term, but then definitely we are hampering the mother earth, and all these scientific principles, when we are learning, we need to align it with that. Then the what should be the approach and the learning standards. So learning standards will be age appropriate and the class stage appropriate. So whatever, let's say we talk about the structure of flower, it starts from grade 5, 6. So in grade 9, we should not again talk about there are 4 parts of a flower. We can go to the deeper level, talking about the other parts, how the reproduction takes place, what is the role of a flower in the life of a plant. So relating it with that also. So this is very important that whatever we are transacting, it should be stage appropriate and age appropriate. The children should have a background of the topics which they are learning in the current stage. It should not be introduced just like that. So it has to grow gradually from come the middle school to the secondary stage. Then, of course, we all are aware about the curriculum goals. So in this, I will be talking about the 8 curriculum goals, which we are aligning with the new syllabus. And competencies, of course, we all know when we combine knowledge with skills, and with knowledge with skills and the abilities to complete a task, then only we make our children competent. And we all are hearing about the papers also, question papers also, that competency-based education is going to be tested. Competency-based questions are going to be a part of the examination. So in a way, from the classroom teaching to the methodology of teaching, to the content of teaching, and how the assessment will take place, we will be exploring all the areas of science through this. And of course, when we are talking about competencies, when we are talking about 21st century skills, definitely we can't transact the lessons from chalk and talk. So it has to, when we are building them, so hands-on learning, experiential learning has to happen, and how these will be incorporated, that is what we will be discussing in the pedagogy. And if we have to assess, so the way the children have been taught the assessment has to be in that manner. So again, we'll be talking about formative assessments, summative assessments, and assessments as a tool for learning. So in this, I think this is a summary of what we are going to cover in this session on the decoding the science curriculum for grade 9. So I would like to tell you that still the draft only has come. It is yet to be finalized by the NCERT. So whatever I am conveying to you, whatever I am speaking is of my understanding of the draft which has come from the NCERT that is there. So when we talk about nature of
Dr.
science,
Poonam,
so when we say nature,
Poonam, ma'am, can you put it on the slideshow mode?
I am audible.
You're audible. Can you put it on the slideshow mode? Slideshow. There's a slideshow option.
I am not very good at that. I will move this, I think.
Yeah, you can move. It is visible, but if you put it on slideshow mode, it will be bigger.
Your voices are very low. Volume is very low.
Is it?
So I will
Can you
stop.
put it
I
on
will
the
hide the
slideshow
computer.
mode? Slideshow.
So I think it is visible to everybody now. Yeah,
it's
thank
fine.
you so
It's
much.
fine if
I'll
you.
go for the slideshow. Yes.
Yes.
I'll go for the slideshow once more.
Yeah. From the current slide. Okay, fine.
Now it is fine, sir?
Yes.
So yeah, so first when we talk about the nature of science, so when the word nature comes, we all start thinking about the ocean, the greenery, the landscape, the breeze. So that is what we consider. But when we talk about science, we all talk about, we know that science is about something to measure. It's about chemicals, it's about atoms, molecules, magnetism, and some chemicals, then temperature, the heat, and definitely the talking about the earth sciences, exploring the space, and developing new medicines, and exploring and investigating the things which we look forward for. So this is what we will be exploring, the nature of science and science as a whole, keeping in touch with the physics, chemistry, biology, and earth science. So these are the sub parts of the science which will be considered together in 9th standard. So when we go to 11th, all these subjects are separated. So when we talk about nature of science, this is going to be that. Then comes the nature of knowledge. So what science does, so what we believe and what the truth is, and what we gather from our beliefs and our findings, that is what is knowledge. So science is definitely help our children to check out their beliefs or question the beliefs of the generations and find out the truth. And from by aligning or by mixing the two things, they will be gathering the knowledge. So knowledge is going to be the processed part of their truth and the belief system which they do. So theory of knowledge is also very important. How the knowledge is built, it is through constructivism, that whatever they are knowing in the previous classes, the knowledge will be built on that, and they will acquire the abilities to question. So when they acquire the abilities to question, it is their quest for finding the answers to them. And that is what is going to help them with the, I'll say, experimentation, investigation, inquiry, and research. So this is what the core scientific temper which any country should have in their students or in their citizens. They should not believe anything blindly. So science also helps us in removing all the myths and the belief systems which have no scientific meaning, or aligning the beliefs with the scientific system to make it more relevant for the culture to believe in that. So this is something which is very important. That is what is going to be a part of that. Then comes the aims of the subject. So when we talk about the aims of learning science, we all understand that the scientific understanding is of the nature, and the physical world. So it is not just that they need to find the relationship between the two. And of course, building up their capacities for scientific inquiry. So when they build up their capacities for scientific inquiry, that is, they start not I'll say looking, they start observing. They just don't start nodding their head or accepting. They start asking questions. Why this truth is relevant or this is irrelevant, or why this occurs. So apart from going from what and how to who, they go to why. So this is about elaborating the scientific inquiry capacities of the students. Then understanding the evolution of scientific knowledge. So the children should not believe that whatever is written in the book will be universal truth forever. The science is also has been built up. That is why we all see the languages in the computers or the other, I'll say, talking about the scientific principles also, they have modified. The basic remains the same, but then when their application starts, they start to evolve with the times, with the new knowledge which is being built in the laboratories when they come in the textbook, so that children also understands how the scientific knowledge is also evolving. Then coming to interdisciplinary, we all talk about art integration. So that is one part, but then definitely when we mathematics, sports are mixed with the science, then it also becomes interdisciplinary. For example, when we talk about the muscles and the strenuous muscles and the sports, how the muscle strengthening is important for the sports, for the long marathons, the different kind of training is required. So when we mix the interdisciplines between the science and the other curricular areas, they are able to establish relevance, and they are also able to accept that science is important for living. Science is not only about the apparatus or the gadgets which they have at home, but also for the basics of the life which is around us. Then there is always a relationship between science, technology, and society. So we all know with the society how these cameras which are now installed everywhere. So it is very difficult for anybody to run away. And then the mobile also, it helps in tracking where the people are. So we all know that there is a very close relationship between science, technology, and society. So with the evolving of the society, science has played a major role. It has given the routine tasks have been simplified so that people have more time to pursue their passions or their careers or their interests. Then scientific temper, we all know scientific method. That is, the first thing is observation. Second is questioning. Third is forming an hypothesis of the question, and then putting the hypothesis to test through experimentation. So when the experimentation happens, then of course the data is collected, and then the data is also analyzed. So once we analyze the data, then we interpret, and then we try to formulate, I'll say, a theory. And the theory will tell that once the experiment proves the hypothesis, then only it becomes a theory. So this is what is scientific temper, not just accepting whatever is offered, but also putting the questions. Like, for example, if somebody says it is very good for the rainwater harvesting to happen, so then the thing is, the child should know how the rainwater harvesting helps in building up the forest or the greenery, apart from just or even the lowering of the temperature. So how the trees will help us in the lowering of the temperature. Why the cities, the metro cities are very, very hot. It's not just about the vehicles. It's also about the usage of glasses which reflect the light, which the glasses which act as mirrors, and then they reflect the sunlight and makes the place even warmer. So all these things will make the child aware of the actions which they are doing. So science should not only make them scientists, but also should make them better humans and responsible citizens of the earth. And the last thing about science is enhancing their creativity. So we as Indians are very creative. in using all the waste junks and all those things to make our lives simpler. Every time there are some kind of gadgets which people are making using the motor, using the bicycle, and or using the engines. So that is also what creativity is, making the most of what the resources we have for us. Then comes the vision of NEP, as I began in the beginning, that NEP 2020 and the paradigm shift for science education. So earlier, I think when I recall when we went to school, so the maximum the scientific tempo was the laboratory visits. But now it is about, and the scores which the children used to get, some by memorizing, some by understanding. But now it is about conceptual understanding. So unless the concepts are not clear, the children will not be able to solve the assertion reason questions. So when we give them deeper understanding of the concepts, then only the children are able to find the logical answer to the, I'll say the reason to the statement which has been given. Then comes the inquiry-based learning. Definitely, we should teach our children to ask questions and ask questions in the right manner, or smart questions. I will say the questions should be specific, relevant, and then their research should be of seeking the questions should be time bound. They should go follow the right methods for the solving their inquiry. Then, of course, as I shared in earlier, that scientific tempo over rote memorization. So rote memorization is not meant to be a part of that, because the knowledge is expanding at such a fast rate that we cannot memorize everything. And now with the technology, the knowledge is just by the click of a button. So we all know that the application of knowledge is more important. So rote memorization would have to be kept aside only for definitions, formulas, valencies, certain such things which help us in having our concept building better. Then comes the hands-on. We all have been talking about experiential learning. So when I say experiential learning, it's not only about doing the experiment, but also reflecting on the results of the experiment. So when a child undergoes the experience of learning the concept, that is what builds up their knowledge, and that knowledge or that learning becomes the active learning. So this is what also has to be a part of the science education. Interdisciplinary connections I've already spoken about. Use of technology, use of AI, use of audiovisual aids, use of labs, O-labs. So all these are technology which have whatever resources are possible, we can get the hands-on learning to our children. Then of course the learning needs to be relevant and engaging. So when we do not engage the children in their learning, then only they lose interest. So then they end up only for passing exams, they end up in rote memorization. So an engaging classroom will ensure that the child will understand the concept and definitely build up their competencies for real life application. And once again, we all are with all the global crisis which is going around. Many a time this has happened. The children go for education, for research and other things. They have to come back for something or the other, the crisis that happens in that country. So I think now the time is there when India has all the things for the children, for the students to do that. And the knowledge should also be rooted in India, so that they are bonding with their country. Their pride for the nation is built naturally, and that is what is going to, I'll say, control the children or attract the children towards the greener pastures. So aim has to be rooted in India and knowledge of India. So these are the major, I'll say, the paradigm shift on the science education, from rote learning to concept building, from just looking at the diagrams to the hands-on, to just focusing on one subject, to interdisciplinary, and definitely use of technology for reaching to all types of learners, even the disabled, and helping in building the societal equity. So all technology helps a lot in building the societal equity. So this is all which we have to keep in mind while providing science education. So as I shared earlier also, that development of competencies. So we all know what are competencies. What are competencies? I would like to hear from the audience. What are competencies? In the chat box, I can see Priyaja, Pradmavati ma'am, and Sonali ma'am. So please, yes, I'm waiting for that answer. According to you, what competencies are? What are, whatever you think you can write, we will discuss on that. So what are competencies? Please write in the chat box. Skills, Sarita, very good. Skills are definitely a part of critical thinking. Yes, definitely. Critical thinking is also a skill. Query, knowledge and ability, conceptual thinking, knowledge, problem solving. Wonderful, wonderful. Very good. Problem solving. So competencies definitely help us in, I'll say, competencies definitely help us in solving the problems. So when I say development of competency, so along with knowledge, when we do, follow the pedagogy of hands-on, so competence, I'll say the skills are built, laboratory skills, I'll say the calibration skills, observation skills, experimentation skills, collaboration skills, and as definitely somebody said, critical thinking. Why this thing happens in the presence of these factors only? Why the current or the, I'll say, the when the thickness of the wire increases, the flow of current is also decreased. So the reason, and the heat increases. So why? Critical thinking. Definitely people will come to know about the resistance, how the thickness of wire is inversely proportional to the directly proportional to the resistance. So definitely development of competencies, overall objectives for science learning at school. So when we design the science curriculum for stage and age, we all develop scientific skills and knowledge based on these goals. So, and when we have these, I'll say when we talk about the competencies, so when we are using the pedagogy in which the children are involved actively, engaged in actively, so the assessment will need not be only pen and paper. Assessment will be based on the pedagogy or the teaching methodology which the teacher is using. So we need to have a diverse kind of assessment, and learning outcome is very important from the angle of building up the competencies. So when we talk about syllabus, it will be a general thing. But when we talk about competencies, it is specific to the learning outcome. I will come to that when we talk about the various topics which have been added and subtopics, and they have also given the learning outcomes. So when we say the learning outcomes, let's say the structure of cell. So when we say the structure of cell, it is a general. It will involve the cell organelles. It will be talking about, let's say, animal cell, plant cell. But then when we talk about the competencies, the child will be able to differentiate between the organelles present in the animal cell with that of the plant cell. The child will be able to sketch the diagram and bring out the differences between the plant cell or the animal cell. This is just one example I have given of the learning outcomes which should be planned along with the so when we are assessing them, so the assessment will be definitely the diagram which the child has drawn to bring about the difference between the plant cell and the animal cell. So assessment has to align with the teaching methodology, and of course the gist of the understanding can also be tested by the next level or a higher order learning questions. But then the whatever tasks which we are doing, whatever activities which we are doing in the classroom should be assessed, because children in everywhere, they are always greedy for the marks. So when they are greedy for the marks, so if you are saying we are telling the making them draw the diagram, So their diagram drawing skills are enhanced. So we need to test on that part also, so that children are better engaged for that reason. So I hope this is very clear to all of you how we are going to build up the competencies of the children in 4 levels. So by developing scientific learning, design of the science curriculum depending on the age and stage wise, then incorporating the skills and knowledge based on these goals, and planning the learning activities and learning outcomes and assessing them accordingly. So now moving to this, the statement will define that these learning outcomes enable teachers to plan their content, pedagogy, and assessments towards specific competencies. So my dear colleagues, all those who are listening, please, this statement is very important because it aligns the entire journey of education, of science education. The content, the pedagogy, the assessments. So whatever learning outcome we are making, that has to be in alignment with the content, pedagogy, and assessments. So the learning outcome is differentiating between mitosis and meiosis, but the content we are talking is the structure of cell. So it cannot be that. So when we are talking about the finding out the difference between the plants and an animal cell, so the pedagogy has to be relevant to the content or the learning outcome which we have established. So once again, I would like to repeat that learning outcome should be in alignment with the content, pedagogy, assessments for developing the specific competencies. Now comes these two terms. Terminology is very important in science also. Curricular goals and competencies. So what are curricular goals? There are 8 curricular goals which are being designated for the curriculum of 9th class science. And definitely curricular goals also help in aligning them with the competencies they will be building up. So the first curricular goal, CG1, curricular goal 1, explores the world of matter. So in this, the first curricular goal is the matter. So in the previous, I will say, book also, the matter was there, matter in our surroundings. So it is the similar, explores the world of matter, its interactions and properties at the atomic level. So they will be talking about the atoms and molecules, so taking the matter to the level of atomic level. So that is a, I'll say, didactic way. So from bigger, from one thing, we are diversifying into the next level. Then explores the physical world around them and understands scientific principles and laws based on observation and analysis. So whatever physical world, the matter which is surrounding them, that so they will be understanding the scientific principles. For example, the occurring of the, and it's not there, but I'm just giving an example, occurring of the day and night, the rainfalls, the rainbow, the scientific principles and laws which leads to all these physical world around them. So exploring and analyzing. So that is very important. Then the curricular goal 3 is explores the structure and function of the living world at the cellular level. So we all know that in the previous book, it was also there, fundamental unit of life. So that is what is the function of the living world at the cellular level. So they will be talking about the cells. Then comes the curricular goal 4, explores interconnectedness between organisms and their environment. So how the ecosystems work. So how the biotic and the abiotic factor, the physical world and the living world are connected, interconnected by their environment. So this is, I think, going to be an addition to the previous one. Then draw linkages between scientific knowledge and knowledge across other curricular area. I think I explained to you, talking about giving you the example of sports, the dance and all those things. Then coming to the curricular goal 6, understands and appreciates and the contribution of India through history and the present time to the overall field of science, including the disciplines that constitute. So atom खाली बोर का मॉडल भी नहीं है, लेकिन परमाणु जो हमारे इंडियन साइंटिस्ट का भी एक वर्ड है, तो उसके बारे में भी बताएंगे, उसके बारे में भी जानेंगे, उसके whatever our science was there ancient time, उसको करंट और कंटेम्प्रेरी साइंस से रिलेट करेंगे. So that is going to build up the pride for the country, because patriotism is one thing which will take our country or the individuals to our, I'll say, highest of level that is there. Then comes the curricular goal 7, develops awareness of the most current discoveries, ideas and frontiers in all areas of scientific knowledge, in order to appreciate that science is ever evolving and there are still modifications, changing, or discoveries or inventions happening. Every time we explore, new species are born, and we come to know about some extinct ones which we find the remains. So all the science is all the time evolving. And the last one curricular goal is explores the nature of science by doing science. So science को रटना नहीं है, पढ़ना नहीं है, देखना नहीं है, science को करना है. So lot of laboratory activities. So laboratory का मतलब lab ही नहीं है. Laboratory का मतलब है going to the fields, going to the museums, going to the parks, going to the I'll say a nursery. All these are living laboratories for us, for the students, taking them to a, I'll say, planetarium if the city has it. So all these are nature of science by doing science. Maybe asking the children to spend the night exploring all the planets. Recently the event happened when I think after several hundreds and years, the planets were in alignment, all the 7 planets. So these are I'll say events which should be encouraged in the children, that they wait for these events to happen and these events to observe. So now we will talk about the learning outcomes. So it is in the tabulated form. So I'll just go with that. So curriculum, so far I'll just tell you of the whatever session which I am given. I have covered the curricular overview. So curricular overview, I included the nature of science. I included the nature of knowledge, aims of the subject, vision of NEP, the approach, the learning standards, development of competencies, and knowing the curricular goals. And now we come to the next step, that is the key concepts and learning outcomes. So the themes which are here are the biology theme, chemistry theme, physics and earth science themes, and India's contribution. So spotlight on the scientists and indigenous knowledge. And coming towards the end, we will be talking about the pedagogical principles. So for cells, they have given 12 periods, tissues 13 periods, and followed by reproduction 13 periods in all. When we talk about chemistry, it starts with atom, mixtures, atoms and molecules, and the relationship between the two. When we talk about physics and earth science, so earth as a system, motion, force, work, energy, sound. So work, energy, sound, forces, motion, these are already, we were already teaching to that. In addition to that, there is the Indian contribution. So let's go with the detail of the biology. The 3 interconnected themes are cell, tissues, and reproduction. So in cells, the teachers are going to cover the structural and the functional unit of life. When we talk about tissues, organization in multiple organisms, reproduction, 13 periods, continuity and variation of life. So total 38 periods have been assigned to them, and competency number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 have been covered in these in this section. Sorry. Then comes the theme cell, 12 periods. They have given the key concepts. So the first one which we talked about, the cell, 12 periods, the details I'll just show. The key concepts: discovery of cell, plants and animal cells, prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, cell as a structural functional unit of the different organelles, permeability of cell membranes, cellular division, and cancer. So the cellular division has been linked to a common occurring scientific problem, which is the cancer, the spreading of cancer in the society. Then the recent advancement in cell biology. So there are ways how which we can see the cells clearly, go to the level of mitochondria and find out certain diseases which are caused or spread by the mitochondria. So the learning outcomes, I'll just tell you. So the competencies 3.1, 3.2. So the learning outcome will be differentiate between plant and animal cell, prokaryotic or eukaryote, describe structural and functional features, explain osmosis, prepare slides. Then coming to the 3.2 competency number, differentiate between diffusion and osmosis. So what I would like to tell you is learning outcome is the child will be able to, after studying the plant and animal cells, this key concepts of the child will be able to differentiate between diffusion and osmosis when they talk about the permeability of cell membranes and the factor, and the child will be able to also find out the membranes in real life which can act as a osmotic membrane. Then the next one is the role of mitosis and meiosis, their similarities and variations. Identify and describe the role of biomolecules in cell structure, the DNA and the function. Then the case studies. There are certain case studies which are linked with that mitochondrial dysfunction. So that is also, the child will also able to present as case study or identify solve the problem of the case study which is given to them. Design eco-friendly models, then conduct osmosis experiments, which many of the schools, they did it in higher grades in 11th and all. And then of course, analyze and present their findings. So if the experiment happened, when we normally use the egg membrane, sometimes we use the potato for doing these things. So if it happened, why? If it did not happen, why? So that is very important that their child should be able to analyze. So I hope in this theme, through this theme, I wanted to elaborate how the learning outcomes are also given. And in this, the competencies 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 4.2, 5.2, 5.3, 6.1, 7.1, 7.2, 8.1 and 8.2. So these competencies have been covered in this topic theme cell. Then comes the tissue. Similarly, it is there. These are the key concepts. These are the learning outcomes. So in this, I would like to highlight contributions of Professor Sipra Guha Mukherjee and Professor S.C. Maheshwari, plant cell and tissue culture cells. So contributions of these scientists, Indian scientists who have done the research on plant cell and tissue culture, so they will be also taught about them. So the Indian contribution in the science will also be underlined and highlighted along with the other scientists who have done their role in the development of science. So next is the reproduction, 13 periods. I'll say again the topic about asexual sexual reproduction, all the examples in plants and animals, then talking about the reproduction in the human, health and hygiene, how hygiene is important in prevention of diseases, how the pregnancy happens, and how again all this knowledge is going to help the child when they become an adult to be responsible citizens or their actions which they done. So again, India's contribution in understanding human anatomy, Professor Panchanan Maheshwari, Foundation of Plant Tissue Culture. And then asking questions again, how do heavy metals harm reproductive organs? Can extreme heat affect fertility? Can mobile phones also affect the sperm count of the, I'll say the sperm count of the males when they kept it in the pocket, or affect the heartbeat when they kept in the front pocket. So next is the theme of diversity. 12 periods have been given, and the pedagogical note has been added is the inclusion of organisms in local surrounding. So India की knowledge बहुत जरूरी है. There are certain breeds of, I'll say, goats which are present on the mountains. There are certain types of sheep which are found in the mountains, but in the deserts, the different varieties are found. And similarly with the cows and buffaloes and different types of plants also. They are very indigenous to their region. So they should be taught about that. For applying the nomenclature reflects the NCF 2023 principle of contextualized place-based learning. Students apply lineal binomials to plants and animals they can directly observe in their environment. So the names are also very important to be added along with the binomial nomenclature proposed by Linnaeus. So then in chemistry, again, the three interconnected themes: mixtures and their separation, structure of an atom, atoms and molecules. 40 periods, and we can see competency 1, 5, 6, 7, 8 have been covered in this. So again, the types of mixtures. So the questions, asking questions: can we create artificial blood that works for all patients? So can we create eco-friendly models, paperfuge and distillation units? So they can do paper chromatography, all these things. So hands-on things are there. So definitely for societal impact, making life healthier, cleaner, sustainable. So along with these key concepts, the learning outcome and the learning activities should include these learning outcomes. So that is definitely going to enhance the key concept which is given there. So the next one is the structure of an atom, the distribution of electrons till kmln. So up to 18 elements are there which are given. Symbols, valency, atomic numbers, mass numbers, isotopes, isobars. Once again, I am telling you, these terminology is the beginning of their scientific. So isotopes, isobar, valency, difference between atomic number and mass number. How does mass number or atomic number affects the valency? How the valency affects the properties, chemical properties of the of any substance. So they should be able to represent the knowledge of the I'll say the Bohr's model through role play, stage play, journey inside the atom. So that can be there. Then awareness of Indian scientists whose contribution to atomic science for peaceful purposes. So we will be talking about the Indian philosopher Acharya Kannada. Concept of Parmanu was given by him also. So long back, before the atom came into our knowledge. So then the atoms and molecules, again 14 periods have been given. The key concepts and the selected learning outcomes have been given. So when we talk about the learning outcomes, so they have clearly mentioned formula of unit mass, writing chemical formula using IUPAC conventions, handling lab chemicals safely. So again, a competency is being added to them, or I'll say a skill is being added to handle the live lab chemicals safely. That is again going to make them a responsible person, that the accidents do not happen. Then by beneficial applications of atoms and molecules in medicines and other things. So then they should be able to ask questions. So depending on the nature of different laws and atomic theory and the molecular mass and the formula of that. So next comes so we have covered biology, we have covered chemistry. Now we talk about the physics and earth science. So in this, forces, energy and our planet is going to be there. So there are 5 interconnected themes: earth as a system, energy, matter and life, motion, 13 periods, force and laws of motion, work, energy and simple machines, and sound. So there will be 62 periods required for covering this. So competencies 2, 5, 6, 7 and 8 will be covered while doing this. Again, the concept comes the role of atmosphere and Earth's surface, mountain, valley, sea breeze, and land breeze. So children, this is something happening around them, especially in the coastal areas. They are in the near the rivers. It is not the sea breeze, but then the breeze which comes from the water body, whichever is there. So what will happen if there is no differential heating of the earth? So again, the breezes will pause. It is because of the differential heating that in the night, the different breeze follows, and in the day, different breeze flows. So again, talking about the biogeochemical cycles, which will help them accept the sustainable ways of living. So again, learning outcomes are not only about explaining, it is also about reflecting. It is also about asking questions. It is about drawing flow charts, concept maps, biogeochemical cycles. Then the formulate hypothesis on differential heating and biogeochemical cycles. Then comes the motion, 13 periods. So displacement, velocity, acceleration, graphical representation of motion, straight line, one direction. So again, the learning outcomes differentiate between distance and displacement. बहुत सारे बच्चे नहीं बता पाते. And speed, velocity. So define displacement, define velocity, define acceleration, define uniform circular motion, and express them in SI units, or converting the one unit to another SI unit. Plot and interpreting. So you can see I'll say the keyword in the learning outcome: differentiate, plot, interpret, calculate. So it is very specific, that it is not broad that they will know about the velocity. So they will not only know, they will be able to differentiate between speed and velocity. They will be able to define velocity. They will also be able to calculate average velocity by using the position time graph. Then they will be able to derive. They will be able to derive the expression. They will be able to analyze. They will be able to formulate hypothesis. So when we are preparing our lessons of these key concepts, keeping these learning outcomes in mind, I think the class is going to be a very engaging, very, I'll say, scientific temper building classroom, because the activities which we are doing will be aligning with the learning outcomes. So when the activities, they align with the learning outcomes, they are building on their skills, they are building on their scientific attitudes. Then comes the next theme, that is force and law of motion. So you can say first law of motion, inertia; second law of motion, force is equals to mass into acceleration; third law, action and reaction. So then again, the learning outcomes: magnitude and direction, force as magnitude and direction; identify balanced and unbalanced forces. So then explain the Newton's first law, state and explain. So learning is also important. So it will not be called as rote learning, because they will be knowing that they will be stating the Newton's first law, and whenever we are mentioning the laws, it has to be done verbatim as per the words given in the law. Otherwise, it doesn't remain a law. Then, of course, they will be able to identify control variables, use instruments accurately, represent data multimodally, communicate findings scientifically. So again, I will say the learning outcomes will definitely lead you to a scientific temper building. So what the teachers have just to do, understand the key concepts, and then you keep the learning outcome in mind while making the lesson plan and aligning them with the right kind of pedagogy. Then comes the work energy simple machines. Again, the same things. I will not repeat again the things. We all are aware, they have used different words: identify, analyze, calculate, define, derive. Then the sound. So the vibrations, the key concepts are given over there: production of sound, vibrations, production of sound as a longitudinal. So wave. So then demonstrate, derive, describe, name historical buildings designed for echoes. So whispering gallery of Gol Gumbaz. Display awareness of Sir C.V. Raman. So analyze real life sound events. develop and use models to predict results. So echoes used to be the favorite game. The children used to be taken near the mountains and they used to call their names, or even in a, I'll say, empty room. These echoes are very, very possible. Then full scientific inquiry cycle applied to sound and investigations. So this is about the learning outcome. So I will now, another thing which I wanted to mention is about the significant contributions of India. So in cell biology, cytogenetics, so pioneer in chromosome research, developed methods of chromosome studies, global significance plot plant. So Arun Kumar Sharma, Professor Arun Kumar Sharma has done a lot in cell biology and cytogenetics. So while I was doing my MSc, I remember we used to get papers. He was doing research at that time. I am feeling so proud to share. And our professors used to share what these are the things which are new things which are happening in the laboratory by Professor Arun Sharma. Then comes the Sipra Guha Mukherjee, as I mentioned the names, plant tissue culture, Panchan Maheshwari on reproduction and plant biology. So we should remember these people, the important Indians, Acharya Kannada, ancient philosophy. So proposed Parmanu indivisible particle of matter, cited in structure and atom module. So it predates it was before the Dalton's atomic theory by 2 millennia. Just imagine how proud one should feel that before that Dalton gave the theory, 2 millennia before Acharya Kannada had given that. And so that positions India's intellect on the global history of science. Then comes the Dilip Mahalanobis, applied chemistry, global health. So developed ORS. So it's very important, very good. But such a cheaper version of giving life-saving, I'll say. Saved millions of lives globally from cholera, diarrhea. So exemplifies how chemistry of simple solutions transforms public health. So that's a wonderful relation of, I'll say, a solution transforming or helping so many lives to be saved. A very noble cause. Then Sir C.V. Raman, we all know, got a Nobel Prize in physics on Raman effect, scattering of light. So sound module, first Asian scientist to win Nobel Prize. So I wanted to give a lot of throw light on that, because when I'm saying all this, I'm also feeling filled with pride for that. So the competencies which I had already shared, I will quickly talk about by just saying.
Madam, just a minute.
Yes, sir.
Some are asking for work energy slide once again.
Which one, sir?
Show work energy slide, work energy. Can you hear?
Sir, I'm putting it back. Tell me.
Yes, work energy.
Work energy slide. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it is there. I will be sharing the PowerPoint with you. You can share it with others, sir.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so I have no problems with that. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
So participants, you can take a screenshot of this work energy if you want a revision of this. Slide page number 30. All this will be there on the video. Tomorrow we will be, uploading the video as well for your reference. Am I not audible, madam?
Yes, sir. Your voice is very low. It is coming. I have to put all my ears to hear that.
Okay.
So can I move ahead, sir?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
You can go.
So again, coming to the competencies quickly, which I had shared with all the topics which have been added about the C1 scientific knowledge, science and nature and technology, biology, classification and patterns. So all these competencies are being covered in the learning outcomes which the NCERT book is going to tell you. So time allocation and structural rigor. So periods, what I personally feel, though they have given tentative time, what will be required for that. But defending when we talk about the differentiated learning, when we talk about the engaged classroom, this can go beyond the number of periods and some of them can be lesser than what they have. So this is what they have proposed, a ideal number of periods that is there, which can be used for their teaching. So then again, key takeaways for international educators from us. We all are aware of the 8 competency strands, which I just shared. I'll just go back and show you. So these are the 8 competency strands. We are covering all that. Then India contextualized are 6.1. In inquiry first 8.2, scientific practices, cross-disciplinary. So when we talk about science with arts, when we talk about health, when we talk about sports and yoga, so these are cross-disciplinary. Then future focused 7.2, pose questions. So when the children is encouraged to ask questions, so that is important for them to do that. So not just with right answers, but with right questions. So I think we are now ready. We have understood what the gist of the entire science curriculum to be, and NCERT has done a wonderful job by providing the, I'll say, the theme, the key concepts, and the learning outcome for that. Now comes the pedagogy, which is very important. So the first thing is making the purpose of defining or telling the pedagogy is making the classroom practices flexible. So it is about making connections between conceptual learning and real life, acquiring the capacities of scientific inquiry, and most importantly, applying these to the world. So science को एक science के lab में, classroom में नहीं लेना, science को world से connect करना है, life से connect करना है, society से connect करना है, और values से भी connect करना है. So science should always be used for the benefit of the society. We all are knowing about the nuclear power. So nuclear power can be a weapon. Nuclear power can also give, I'll say, energy to the places where, and energy can also transform, I'll say, a village into a city. That is what. So the pedagogy are the ones for the new educators. I'll just explain. Pedagogy is nothing but teaching methodology. That the way we teach is our teaching methodology. So when I am saying that, let's say we talked about the diagram, we talk about the hands-on. So when we are talking about the echoes, so if a child is asked to find out the length which will create an echo, so then how the assessment should be. It can be in a case study form also, where the entire real life thing has been given as a story, and child is asked to solve a question. But then if we talk about, do have something hands-on about the echo and ask the child to just define echo, so that kind of assessment will not be a right assessment to the hands-on learning which the child has done. So key concept should align with the learning outcome, and learning outcome should have the right activities, and the activities should be assessed. So without assessment, we cannot know whether the child has understood the concept and should we go further in the, I'll say, in the concept, further, or to change the topic or to change the data. So this is very important, and we all know technology has helped us bridge the gaps, helped in independent learning. Just now sir said video is there, you can visit the video again for better understanding. The same way, whatever we are doing, teaching to the children, it can be recorded, and the children who are all the auditory learners can be shared that, and the children can hear and learn it better. So technology needs to be done, and assessments can be very quick through the tests which we do, the Google form. The test can be very good, very easy, and without even checking it ourselves manually, we will get to know what are the strong points, what are the weak points. So technology has made learning easy, interactive, and interesting. So effective pedagogy is based on good understanding of how children learn and grow, and a clear focus on curricular goals. So competencies and assessment. So throughout the thing, we have to remember the curricular goals, the 8 curricular goals, the competencies which we need to nurture, and how these competencies will be tested is the rightful assessments. So pedagogical principles for scientific, I will say, education. The first one, We all know about asking questions, the scientific method, the routine scientific method. I will not repeat again and again. It will become very boring. So we all know about the scientific method. Second is about the exposing students to different aspects of learning in varied settings, the laboratory, the classroom, the field, through approaches, inquiry, discovery, didactic and hands-on science. So अगर एक concept पढ़ाना है तो एक ही तरीके से नहीं, we can use different ways, again trying to cater to the different types of learners in the classroom. Or if one concept by one method, one sub-concept is developed and the next one has to be developed by another method, we should try it out that way. Then again, I talked about the using the scientific vocabulary, valency, mass number, mitosis, eukaryote, prokaryote, organelle. These are very, very important because when they go pursue higher science education, because these vocabulary is definitely going to help them, and definitely the local context also needs to be taught to them so that whatever they are learning in the classroom, they are able to relate in the neighborhood, what is happening. So if planting of more trees in an area, a child is taught about that, prevent soil erosion. So children will start planting trees and we can provide, we can control the landslides or loss of the fertile air during the rainfalls or the monsoon. So it is very important that the local context has to be added. Then the peer and collaborative learning, group work, collaboration, very important. And peer learning, I'll say it works wonders for remedial. Because बच्चे जो अपनी भाषा में दूसरे को समझाते हैं वो उनकी भाषा होती है and they take it very quickly. Then building on students' existing knowledge using multiple representations. So again, the graphs, the diagrams, the models, the real objects, connecting scientific knowledge inside and outside, we have already spoken about. Horizontal connections with, again, it's a repetition of what we have done. So hands-on science is very important. Discovery approach, when the child is exposed to the natural world, they observe the natural phenomena, the teachers create opportunities and take their attention, as I shared with you, telescopes now some eclipse is coming, they can arrange for the I say viewing of the objects in a safe environment, and the purpose and the science behind that. So all these are important. Then project based, we all give projects to our children, but at the same time we can also enhance their skills, connecting them with the local professional community of potters, weavers, craftspersons, farmers, blacksmiths, carpenters, and electricians. So when they are making a model, so they will be collaborating with them, and their, I'll say, their hitch not to experiment will be overcome. So then they will understand that this can, if their idea comes, any kind of idea that comes in for them for discovery or invention, they will try to put it in a model. So these things are also important for scientific inventions. Imagine if we know the circuit, everything, can any, I'll say, car be made without the molding or without the blacksmiths or the other things? And if we want to design a sustainable environment, can anything be done without the weavers, the potters? So these are very important when we are talking about plants, how the plants grow, what type of soils decides what kind of crop. So farmers are the best person. So this is something which is very important, that the science should not only be taught in the classroom, it should be taught with, I'll say, outside the classrooms. Then following the didactic approach, so communicating certain important information in the form of scientific terms, phenomena, and the historical development of historical development of concepts and ideas in this approach. Then demonstration, teacher demonstrates the working of certain instruments or outcomes of experimental setups. We all know that, and combination of these recommended pedagogical approaches are definitely going to help us achieve our, I'll say, learning outcomes and build competencies for developing the scientific temper in their students. So vocational education and arts along with science. So these are something which we all talk about. And now coming to the last part, because without marks, children will not learn. Without marks, teachers will not be, I'll say teacher assessment will also not be possible. How the class is doing, how the school result is. So it is the purpose of assessment in science. So the primary purposes of assessment are to evaluate and improve teaching, learning strategies and materials. Assessment also helps teachers to gain insights into students' progress, provide timely feedback, and make informed pedagogical decisions. It also allows students to reflect on their learning and identify their weak and strong areas. So again, science without hands-on, without practicals, without experiential is not possible. So we all know experiments and activities, they connect the scientific concepts with real life situations and help students develop deeper understanding of science. So when we draw a structure of a flower, the child will say, okay, it looks like that. When the child will pluck a flower and tear open all the parts of the flower, the child is going to do what? The child is going to, I will say, will be able, knows exactly how the actual three-dimensional structure of the flower looks like. So it is, in the sketching, it is two-dimensional. But when they do hands-on, they will know that. So it is very important for hands-on activities to take place, whether it is about the electricity, it is about the sound or the light or any other forces which they are doing. So when the child does, the every action is equal and opposite reaction. The child is never going to forget about that. So thus experiments and activities play a key role in making learning of science effective, engaging and meaningful. So there will be a separate manual of lab which will also come up very soon. And these manuals, these labs have to be, the practicals have to be conducted. But then as science teachers, we are not just restricted to what the manual says. We all are aware that science cannot be taught without the practical knowledge, without the actual touching, hands-on experience of the things. So to verify the laws, to perform the experiments and principles, so all these things will help them develop scientific thinking and problem solving skills. So then comes, as I shared in the beginning also, assessment will be for three things. So when the lesson is being taught, when the activity is taking place, so that is the assessment for learning, and that is also known as formative assessment. Next comes the assessment as learning, off learning, sorry. It is, take it as off learning. So when we are assessing whatever the learning has happened, the way we do pen and paper tests, UTs, or I'll say the half yearlies and the finals, all this is the assessment of learning. So please ignore this. This is not as, it is of learning. Then assessment as learning. So let's say the two children have been asked to present and the other children have been asked to, I'll say, judge by giving the judgment criteria for the project which they are talking about. So when the child is listening for judgment, for assessing the other students, they are also learning. So when I am, the whole class has been given one cell organelle to present, and the cell organelles, let's say if I am nucleus, so when the other person is mitochondria. So when mitochondria is speaking and I am also listening, so I am also learning. I am assessing also and I am learning. The similar way the mitochondria is learning when I am becoming and telling about the nucleus. So this is a very important thing. So formative assessment, the first one is continuous and ongoing. It is used to track students' learning and provide ongoing feedback that can be used by teachers to improve their teaching and by students to improve their learning, used for formative purposes. That is for informing, teaching and learning. Then comes the assessment of learning, which is summative assessments. So it evaluates students' learning at the end of a lesson or a logical period of teaching. So our term end examination, board examinations. So summative assessments are all the written tests which we do. Then the assessment as learning, self-assessment. So it encourages students to actively reflect on their learning process actively helping them develop self-awareness and critical thinking. So unless the child learns to reflect on their learning, it is very, very difficult, or I'll say nearly impossible to live or lead a good life, because every action we take, we need to reflect. And if we make any mistakes, or then we need to know how to improve or cover that. So reflective learning is very important, and it fosters lifelong learning skills by making assessment as an integral part of learning. So this is something which wanted to talk about, that the assessments play a very important role. And the last thing which I would like to tell you is, syllabus में जो current shift है, it is focusing on designing competency-based assessments aligned with learning outcomes. So again, the learning outcomes has to align with the activity, has to align with the assessment. So prioritizing conceptual understanding, critical thinking, application of scientific knowledge. So what, how, when के अलावा why is the most important, because when we question why, we get to know the critical thinking, our application of scientific knowledge. And then comes the integrating the formative assessments of it should be a part of the daily classroom interactions to support continuous learning and continuous, I'll say, engaged classroom, where the teacher is engaged, students are engaged, because every day they are doing something different in the class. The class is so unpredictable that what the teacher is going to do in the class to explain the key concept. So it is very important for all of us to do that. So variety of assessments are given. So we all know there can be a play, it can be a case-based question, simulation, essay type question to assess competencies, then questions that require creativity. Then at the secondary stage, written tests, practical tests, projects should also be used. And of course, we all are aware, comprehensive summative assessments help the child to prepare for the board examination. So apart from pen and paper, pen and pencil test, oral test, project work, group assignments should be a part of the assessment. So assessment tools and processes must accommodate students performing at different levels within a classroom. Students with or without disabilities learn together, and the teaching learning system is suitably adapted to meet the learning needs of students with different disabilities. So well-designed, graded assessments can be used to better understand individual student needs, so that these needs can be adequately addressed. So in the textbook of grade 9, which is being developed by NCERT, these are the things which are be looked for that. So I think I have completed what I had shared. So this is time for questions. I can see. Are there any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So
sir.
there are a few questions about what about a practical syllabus?
So if somebody can write in the chat, I will be able to, because I'm not able to hear you, sir.
It is there. I will copy and paste it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Pasted. There are 4 questions by Rajshri. Can you see, ma'am?
I can see.
1 minute. I will post it.
After the certificate link,
Yes.
yes. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Thank you, sir. I can see that. Yes, sir. So what about practical syllabus? So, sir, again, I have been talking about the whole thing, that science, whether the practical syllabus is there or not, practicals have to be a part of the conceptual learning. So we cannot teach science without the practicals. Even if the syllabus doesn't come, they have told about the pedagogy. So pedagogy includes that. So there is going to be no separate syllabus. The teaching learning will happen along with the practicals. But practical manual is also being developed for the practical syllabus you are talking about. So weightage of the chapter, sir, they have the number of periods they have given. So weightage of the chapter will come when the question paper setting has to be made. So that will not yet been disclosed about that. Then the status of release of textbook. I am not an NCERT person. I am an educator like you. So when it comes, it will be, I think, Salam sir will definitely share. He's the first one to share all this info.
So we can expect in the second week of
And
April.
is earth science should be taught under physics? I think it is natural. When we talk about forces, the pull, the gravitation, it will be a part of that. But then some of the earth science can also be a part of the biology. So the NCERT says that science is integrated. But most of the schools, CBSE schools, they have separate teachers talking about the teaching the different subjects. So this is something which this is up to you as a school, which you can talk earth science in physics or earth science in biology, or earth science can also be a part of chemistry when we talk about the metallurgy and other things that is there. Then Geetu ma'am has asked how much depth should the new topics in cell and tissues should be taught. Textbook gives the concepts and subtopics to be taught. Again, ma'am, they have given the key concepts. So the depth will be decided by you to the as per the stage and the age. So at the 9th class stage, you cannot teach them what about what you are teaching in grade 11. So it is the that the teacher has to I'll say adjust as per the stage and the age. What about the periodic table? I think understanding of periodic table will help learners to better understand the atomic structure. So till 18 atomic number they have given. So periodic table can be I'll say a bigger picture where we can say these 18 elements we are going to talk, but we have so many elements in the periodic table. So I think as a teacher, you can, for their interest, you can definitely talk about the periodic table, but then the assessment will be from those 18 elements which I spoke to you. Any science WhatsApp group to join? So this is, sir is going to talk about that. Any other question? I'm open for...
Science WhatsApp group we have, you can note down my number and send a request. I am posting my number in the chat box. So, any other questions? Textbook, you can wait for 2 more weeks. Most probably by April 2nd week, we will be able to get it. Vijay sir, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am here, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think Poonam ma'am has some difficulty in hearing.
Sir, a slight network issue is there, sir. When you speak after a while only, it will come.
Okay.
That accuracy, some problem is there.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Poonam ma'am. Hope everything is very clear.
Yeah, I am able to hear very soft your voices. You speak as it is very soft.
Can
And
you hear
I think there is some
Vijay sir, can
connection
you
issues.
please wind up? Can you please wind up?
Yeah, sure.
Can you,
so, dear
can
educators,
you hear Vijay sir? Can you hear Vijay sir?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
No, whether...
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, Poonam ma'am can, hear Vijay sir or not. It is the problem with the Poonam ma'am's...
Even I can hear Pooja ma'am also.
Poonam ma'am, can you hear Vijay sir? Okay, Vijay sir, please go ahead winding up. PPT will be
PowerPoint
shared.
I can share with Salam sir, and in case sir wants to share, they can share. I have no problem.
Yeah, we will share the PPT
Thank you,
with the certificates.
everyone. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and I'm really feeling very happy seeing your comments. I hope the session was useful.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you very much for your great performance. And your PPTs also are highly appreciable. So all the educators are waiting for the content of the PPTs. Definitely we'll be sharing it tomorrow itself. And hope all the relevant questions also have been answered by Poonam ma'am. So thank you very much, and let's wait for one more session for the recent days to come. So thank you, educators, for joining today's evening. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Visit Delhi, sir, both of you. It's high time.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night. Good night, Biju sir. Good night, everybody. All of you, please note
Yes,
the
sir.
certificate link is the same for all the sessions. You can save it, and the certificates along with the PPT will be sent tomorrow. All right. Thank you. Good night, ma'am. Good night, Biju sir. Good night, everybody.